Hey guys, it's Glenn from Glenn's Car Collection, and welcome to winter. Welcome to my 2-year ownership review of my 2017 Porsche Panamera Turbo. I've been waiting for snow because we've gotten a couple inches here or there, and then it melts, a couple inches here or there, and it melts. So we finally just got some little more snow this morning, so I figured today would be a good day to film. It's about 22 months for this car. Can you believe it? In 2 months, it'll be 2 years with this car. If you follow the channel, my daily driver before this was a 2020 M 340i xDrive, and previous to that was an Audi S8. So like the S8, we have a twin turbo V8 producing 550 horsepower. Now this car in 2017, when it was brand new, I bought it certified pre-owned from a Porsche dealer, but when it was brand new in 2017, base price was $149,000. There was no Turbo S that year or turbo hybrid. It's just a turbo in 2017. Ceramic brakes with 10 piston calipers, sport design front end, heated, cooled, and massage. The Burmeister stereo system, Porsche dynamic chassis control, which takes away the body roll in the turns. 4-wheel steering, where the back wheels actually turn depending whether you're parking or on the highway. And it's been a phenomenal daily driver. Supposedly, I don't know if it's true, but this is what the dealer told me. The previous owner played for the Philadelphia Flyers. I live in northern New Jersey, and I bought this out in Pennsylvania, just like my 2017 Miami Blue Carrera. And they said the previous owner played for the Flyers. I think it was either Voracek or probably Kevin Hayes, because around this time when this car was traded in 2 years ago, he was traded to the Rangers. So it makes sense that he would get rid of his car, move into New York City, and maybe get another car. So that's the reason for the tinted windows. That is not factory. I do love the black wheels. This is a very popular color called Volcano Gray. And I believe it's $850 extra cost, does not paint the sample. It's very, very common in the Panameras. You see a ton of Panamera 4s, which are just a 6-cylinder twin turbo 300 horsepower in this color. The only way you can really tell the turbo is obviously if you see the engine, the acceleration the engine has, this sign here in turbo. And Porsche's turbo is always written in lowercase letters, same as my 993 turbo. It says turbo on the whale tail in lowercase letters. Now, the turbos, all the other Panameras have a 2-piece spoiler. The turbo hidden underneath here is actually a 3rd piece. So when you go over 70 or 75, or even hard acceleration around town, this will go to the side, both of these 2 pieces, and a 3rd big piece will come up and you'll have a 3-piece spoiler. I believe that's only on the turbo. It may be on the GTS because that's a V8 twin turbo too. The GTS is like 400 something horsepower. It's a detuned version of this car. This is 550. Big trunk. I should look at my trunk before I open it. You can easily fit 2 golf clubs for me, 2 hockey bags. The seats fold down. You can fit your sticks or skis. Plenty of room. Very easy to adjust the trunk. Here you just press the button. Since I'm taller, I have it adjusted all the way up, but you can really do it at any height. Now the Gran Turismo, I believe, is a 5-seater, but the regular sedan is a 4-seater. So you have this center console, which does not move. These seats do fold down here, and because it's a fully loaded car, you have your own HVAC controls, and you can actually override the stereo system of the driver. So if you want to be chauffeured, you can. When I first picked this up, my kid changed the radio station on me, so that was pretty funny. And you have heated, cool seats and massage, all 4 of them, front as well. This car is also loaded with carbon fiber. Turbos come with full leather. How do you tell full leather? You can look right at the door or on the dash. Now, 2017, you get our Apple CarPlay, but it only works if it's plugged in. You have 2 cup holders. One's a little too small, so I put my phone thing in there, and one is a little too big, so you can fit your water bottle. Again, you have the Burmeister, so you have speakers everywhere. You have full leather everywhere, which is nice. Carbon fiber everywhere, just as I would spec it if I bought it new. For Apple CarPlay in 2017, it must be plugged in. We'll go over that in a second. You have the smoker's package, which basically just gives you an outlet here for your radar detector. It's too long to reach to the windshield, so what I do is I have an adapter and then I can plug it in down here. It's messy. We're in the middle of winter here in February when I'm filming this. It's almost 2 years, which I can't believe. All right, so let's get inside and go over some of the features on the inside. Okay, so now we're inside my 2017 Porsche Panamera. So you have the 5 dials here, just like a 911, with the tachometer front and center. And it also gives you the speed, because you'll see in a second, it's hard to read the speed, just like a 911 or Cayman or Boxster on the actual speedometer dial. Now, this has the permanent key. I believe this is an option, so you can keep the key in your pocket and just turn it on the left here. You turn it to the right with your foot on the brake, and it starts up. We'll go through the drive modes in a second. So this is the Sport Chrono. Even though you still have the stopwatch on the dash here, you don't have buttons regarding the Sport Chrono here. For this generation, you have the Sport and Sport Plus and individual modes right on the dial. So it's actually easier. You could do your best Formula One imitation by turning it to, and you'll hear the noise in a second, going to Sport. Individual, for individual, I just have the sport exhaust on, nothing else. And we could, let me try to lower the HVAC here so you can hear me. Okay, I'll shut it off actually. So here's comfort mode, and this is where you'll have your start stop, and then you can turn it to the right for sport mode. You see how it got louder, and I'll tell you here, your sport. Automatically in sport, you get PASM, P-A-S-M. So that'll go into the next level, which is a little stiffer. And if we go into Sport Plus, it'll get louder, lower the car by an inch, and then it'll give you the harshest setting for the shock. So we'll do that right now. So now the car is lowering itself by an inch. You could see it if you look at the dash. And then we see we have 2 here. So what I usually drive it in sport, of course, Sport Plus is probably a little too low, and then I press it twice and get the comfort suspension. Now, this is telling me I'm due for my annual service. I bought this car CPO, so they put on, new tires. It had the ceramic brakes, so for ceramic brakes, they measure them, see how much thickness is in the rotors. It's supposed to last the life of the car, or 100,000 miles. We have 61,000 miles now. I bought it with 47,000 miles. So last year's service was really only an oil change. It's about $500 to $600 on a dealer, shop around, probably $250 to $300 on an independent, and probably about $100 if you do it yourself. Of course, it uses synthetic oil. So to get the inspection, which we're going to have done next week, so make sure you subscribe and hit the notification so you don't miss that. If I press this button here, then I can go through all the dials. It gives me, I got a little more than half a tank of gas. It's a big tank of gas. I believe it's 23 gallons. So it's almost the same as my V10 Audi R8. One is 23 gallons, one is 24, I forget. It can get not great gas mileage, probably about 20 on the highway, give or take, if you drive in the comfort mode. If you drive in that normal mode, if I drive in sport, which I drive a lot because the throttle response is much better in sport, then I probably average around 12 miles to the gallon, maybe like 18 on the highway and maybe like 10 or 12 around town. So I guess my average is probably more like 14 or 15. But if you drive in normal mode, you probably would get like 25 on the highway. Depends on your speed. If you're going 80, 90 miles an hour, you would not. Not that I would know anything about that. So we could go through all the gauges. It'll actually give us our tire pressures. I pumped them up for winter. I believe normal is like 44 for the front tires, 48 in the back. 20-inch wheels are standard. These are the optional 21s. It also gives you, this is all-wheel drive, the power distribution front and rear. And unless I'm under hard acceleration, it drives as a rear drive car. So you only notice front is when it's clawing, say it's slippery, or if you're accelerating on the highway and now it needs the front to thrust it forward. So 90% of the time it drives as a rear drive car, which is what I like. It tells you the speed limit, the temperature. The other nannies I have taken off. There is a night vision. So this is telling me I just drove to this spot, probably in sport mode. So I was averaging 15 miles an hour and my consumption was 11.6 miles per gallon. Now you have a GPS is right here and it's very bright. You can go to the next screen and that's night vision. So night vision, it actually saved me from a deer last week. I was driving and I was coming to a fork on the road and I didn't even see the deer, and it actually showed a picture of the deer and highlighted him in red and said to hit the brakes, which I did. So I did avoid the deer, so it works. Half the time I forget to use this, so I don't use it. But that time it saved me coming back. This was around like just when it was getting dark, maybe like 6 o'clock at night. Normally you would see like the heat. It's like it shows, I guess, heat seeking. So if you're driving, you see the tires of the other cars are hot, and engines, unless it's an electric car like a Tesla, then you'll just see that the tires are warm. All right, so that's pretty much it there. So, oh, there's a G meter. I forgot about that. I always forget I have a G meter too. So we got 1 G to the right, 1.14 Gs, that must be with launch control, and almost a G in braking. Now, again, it has Apple CarPlay, but it has to be plugged in. So one flaw in this car is, say I go to run an errand a couple miles from my house. I want to take the phone inside with me. If I unplug that phone and come back 10 minutes later from the errand, it will not give me Apple CarPlay again. So there's some kind of fault in there that it just won't boot up, and then I'm just stuck. I can do Bluetooth off my phone if I want to stream music, or if not, then I have to listen to the radio or something like that, because I will not get Apple CarPlay until later on. If you do a quick stop and try to plug the phone back in, it won't do it. So you can go in drive modes here. So other ways to do Sport and Sport Plus. Individual mode, you can put whatever setting you want. So my individual mode sounds just like Sport because I put the Sport exhaust on it. You could, it's got a front lift, which you can press, and I'll do another video of that. So if you know, and it'll do it on the fly, but I believe you got to be under like 10 miles an hour. So if I know I'm going to a gas station that's steep or an office building or something like that, since I'm a commercial real estate agent or a warehouse I'm leasing, I will press that to lift it, and it goes pretty quickly. So here we go, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, and we're done. Okay, and then automatically, you never have to lower it, it'll go back. So here, individual mode highlights the Sport exhaust. If we go, say, into normal mode, then it will take it away. We go in Sport mode, Sport exhaust is back. Climate control. So now, the only hard part of this with the climate control is you need to go in the menu to use this center console. Everything else you can turn manually on the sides here, but for the center one, you actually have to move a slider, which you have to go in this current to do the air distribution, and then you could turn it through the screen. You can't turn this center console manually. And then you could do, you know, up or down your legs, whatever, and you could also sync it with the passenger. So we have heated and cooled seats. So now while the car's on, you see all these buttons. If I shut off the car, they disappear. So obviously you have to use it turned on like you should, right? And then you could even take off the stability control. Why would you do that? You have the front and rear defogger. So this has the optional massage seats. So I think heated and cooled and massage is like $4,000 a seat, some crazy number. So I press it over by my hip and I'll bring up the massage menu. You're only going to feel maximum. Everything else is so minimal you probably won't hear it. You can do a stretch, a wave, and each massage probably lasts about 10 minutes. I like the lumbar. And your passengers have that, and also the back seat. And again, it's all optional, so it is not standard, just like everything else in a Porsche. What else could I tell you about this car? Bluetooth works fine. I take the assist off the car. Let's see, if we go into the car menu, again, that's the massage. We have the rear privacy shade. We also have, as the straight pipes call them, peasant blockers in the back seat, so you can have shades on the back seat passengers left and right. If you want some privacy, you can go through vehicle and displays and other apps like that. What can I tell you? Gas is on the right side. You will use a lot of it. Now this car, we'll take it for a spin here, and it actually, the faster you drive this car, so about 2015, I was out in San Diego and I rented a hybrid 911, which was the slowest car, but I was really impressed, and the heaviest Panamera and the slowest Panamera. And I was really impressed with the handling. The faster I drove those cars on some windy San Diego roads up in the hills, the better the car performed. And that's what made me like the car. And I figured if I was going to get it used, I would get a turbo, so I get all the power. 0 to 60 is about 3.1 to 3.3 seconds, somewhere in that range, which is as fast as my McLaren 570S. This is all-wheel drive, so it actually puts down the power better, but of course it's heavier. Probably weighs about 4,500 pounds. We'll go for a ride and I'll explain other cars that I compared it to. All right, now we're on the road. I've been waiting for a sunny day, but it's been snowing like every other day, just an inch or two. But it's always been gloomy, and I think I got to get this video out. So gloom and doom, here we go. So I compared this car. What made me buy this car, besides renting it out in San Diego back in the day, is I had my heart set on a BMW M5, like a CPO 2018, 2019, maybe a competition. And I went to test drive one, and they also had a Panamera. It wasn't a turbo, it was just a 6-cylinder, 300 horsepower. And I drove the two back to back. This was like down the Jersey Shore, and found some back roads down there. And this car blew that M5 away. I couldn't believe the difference in handling. And they weigh almost, we're gonna get stuck at this light, almost exactly the same. And this car blew it away in the handling. Now the M5 was faster than a straight line, and I think the M5 is probably faster in a straight line than this turbo is, but to me, I'm more about handling, and that's what really sold me on the car. And then I was trying to find, I knew I wanted a turbo, certified pre-owned, because these are expensive cars to fix, and like all four-door Porsches, they depreciate. You get a 911, it came in a manual, it'll probably hold its value. You get a Macan, a Cayenne, or a Panamera, anything with four doors, it's going to depreciate just like a four-door. So that's probably one downside of this car, depreciation. The first owner, I doubt they paid sticker, but they had a 208,000 MSRP. Let's put it in sport mode now. You hear the difference? I love driving around in sport mode, but it does use a ton more gas. But you can hear the V8. So in normal mode, you really don't hear the V8, but in this you do. So 208,000, so let's just say the guy got it for 200,000. They sold it to me for 80. So he must have gotten 70 on his trade-in, if even. I don't know what it's worth now, probably 70 or something like that, which is still a bargain. So Porsche, unlike BMW, when I was shopping CPO cars, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, they give you 1 year unlimited mile CPO. Porsche still does 2 years. 5 years ago, they all did 2 years unlimited miles. And I noticed when I had my Audi S8 and bought that CPO, all the repairs happened the second year. The first year, easy peasy. Second year, it was repair after repair after repair. So Porsche, not only will they give you a 2-year CPO if the original 4-year 50,000 mile warranty expired, you could actually pay for a third year. So I thought a $200,000 car new, that third year is going to be expensive. Because remember, the mileage is unlimited. Technically, I could drive this car 100,000 miles a year and still have a bumper-to-bumper warranty. So I said, how much for the third year? And it was only like $2,700, so I took it. So even though this car is coming up for 2 years, I still have a year left. So I got about 15 months or so left on the warranty. So that's powerful. Now, if I trade it into another dealer, I don't get anything. If I trade it into Porsche, that CPO will stay, or if I sell it privately, that CPO is transferable to the new owner. Now, if you buy a newer car that's still under that 4-year 50,000 mile warranty, which I did with my 911, I actually wound up getting 3 years, so I didn't have to pay for a third year because I had 1 year left of the original 4-year 50,000 mile warranty, and then I had the 2-year CPO kicks in, as long as you don't hit 50,000 miles in that first year when you're under the original 4-year 50,000 mile warranty. If you do hit 50,000 mile warranty, then your CPO warranty kicks in at that 50,000 miles. But this car, it's a big car. It's 2 inches bigger than the 5 Series, so we're approaching almost a 7 Series. It is smaller than a 7 Series, smaller than an S-Class, but it is a pretty big car. Now, you know, since COVID, even though I'm a real estate agent, I haven't had any people in my car. I usually meet them at the buildings, and I drive all over the state, or what we call the tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, to meet clients, or even Pennsylvania, and I always meet them at the building. So, but you can actually, this car was designed, so the original Panamera, this is the second generation. I think that generation was the 970, and this is the 971. The original generation had the humpback for the headroom in the back, because the designer was 6'4", and he wanted to be able to drive the car and have a 6'4" person behind him in the back. I hate that we got to follow this car, so I think we're going to go straight. Little acceleration, whoa, a little slippage there. Now, I noticed that when you drive in normal mode, the throttle is pretty dead. So if I want to accelerate either at a light, make a left-hand turn, or onto the highway, I always put it in sport mode. And if I want acceleration on the highway, I'll hit this button that gives me 10 seconds of overboost. So maybe we'll do that when this light turns green here. Up, here we go. So now we got 10 seconds of boost. Which will make you accelerate even more. Actually, it's 20 seconds of boost. My bad. But it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference in acceleration. And I think you really need it. And see, the spoiler went up too. So even though I wasn't going 70 miles an hour there, I was going the speed limit, a hard acceleration will trigger that big spoiler. It looks pretty cool. It's almost like the phoenix rising from the ashes. You'll see the whole thing unveil before your eyes. I would stick a GoPro there, but it's too cold and it'll just fall off. Just checking what time it is. And now again, if we go into Sport or Sport Plus, it has the Porsche dynamic chassis control, and it really stays flat in the corners, which really counts for traction. This car is an absolute blast to drive. The only downside to me is, 99% of the time, in it myself. I drive my kid to and from school, so there's two of us, and I don't really, I'm probably better off served with, a 911 driving every day than this car, because where I go at work or the gym, I have to park in parking garages, and this is a pretty big car to do that. Now, I do have a 360 camera. I didn't show it to you. I'll show it to you later. So you really do have front and rear sensors, and you have a camera in the front and the back. And what you can do is to trigger the front camera, unless there's an obstacle there where it's triggered automatically, is you would come to a stop in your parking space, put it in reverse to bring the camera up, and then go back and drive again, and then it'll automatically reverse to the front camera. Again, I drive in sport mode most of the time. I think the throttle in normal mode is shifting up to higher gears, like you'll be in 8th gear at 30 miles an hour to obviously get some decent gas mileage, but it does take a lot of the fun out of the car. So we're going to try to turn left here. But I love the V8 sound, and that's not something you really hear in a Porsche, right? Because you're always hearing that flat 6 sound. So here, you're hearing the rumble of a V8, and of course, it's a front engine car. Can't go too crazy today. We're on public roads, and everything is icy. It's about 30 degrees, so. Now, I have all-season tires. That's what came with the car. And as part of the CPO, I think all the tires are new or very close to new. They usually give you a new battery as well. So really the first year when you do a CPO, and you'll pay probably at least $5,000 more to get a CPO, but I can tell you it's well worth it, because these cars can be expensive to fix. And also as part of the CPO, they bring all the services up to date. So if you just buy it used from another dealer, they probably have 0 service records, and there could be a lot of services needed for this car, especially around 60,000 miles. So, when you buy this car, they do the next service, whether that's 50 or 60,000 miles. So I'm set. I don't anticipate much to do at this service as well. So if we watch the distribution now on this 4th dial here, we'll see that I'm 90% rear drive, only 10% front drive. Got to watch the potholes. And if I do some acceleration, you'll see that bar with grip going to the front. And again, the most I've ever seen is probably not even 50-50, maybe 30% to the front, maybe 40% if you did launch control or something like that. Today's not a good day to do launch control. Maybe in the spring we'll do that. Now with the 4-wheel steering, it is pretty easy to park. I'm one of those people that back into the parking spaces, and I can tell you with the 4-wheel steering, it's very easy to do that, easily parallel park. Be careful, because these wheels are expensive, so I wouldn't want to curb any wheels. The ride in this car is great, especially with the massage seats. The heated seats work well, the cool seats. And the Burmeister, try it if you're shopping used, get CPO and get the Burmeister. It's well worth it. I always thought Bose was 90% of it. I have Bose in the 911, and I can tell you the Burmeister is probably 5 times the cost, but it's 10 times better than the Bose. So to me, it is 100% worth it. So when we come to a stop here, I'm just going to show you the camera real quick, because I forgot to show it to you before. So we're going to put it in park for a second. When I go in reverse, it brings up the camera. So you see I have a top-down view and then a direct view. And you could play around. You could do front, you could do side, you could do panoramic front. And also another way to do it, if you want to go through the menu, is just put the car in drive and automatically bring up the front camera. All right. So what would I change? Well, I would change that it has a better resale value, because if this car held its value, I would keep it for a very long time. Now, to me, this was a great buy because if you bought a new Panamera 4, which is only a V6 and front wheel drive with options, you're probably looking at 120, 130, 140,000. You could get a used turbo for like 80, and you could probably get a used turbo from this vintage. Definitely get 2017. This is the first year of the new body style, and I think it makes a difference. Not only does it look better, it drives better, and the PDK is so much better. I tried to buy a 2015 GTS way back when, and it was so jerky in traffic. So this PDK is fine in the school pickup line or bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's not as good as the BMW I had with an 8-speed ZF torque converter automatic, but it is still more than livable. And the ceramic brakes I'm really impressed with. That was the one thing. I wanted a fully loaded car, so I compromised on color. I like the blues, the greens, the carmine red they have for the Panamera. I compromised on color because I wanted all these crazy options. So Burmeister, well worth it. Massage seats were well worth it. Heated and cooled. Also the heated steering wheel, well worth it. What other options? I think the chassis control, the Sport Chrono, the Sport exhaust, every option here is probably worth the money. The one option I didn't want was the ceramic brakes. I forget what that was new, maybe a $9,000 option. From what I'm told by the dealer, the rotors are $17,000 if I ever have to replace them. So I will get rid of the car before that happens. But they seem that they're going to last a long time. So to be CPO, they have to have a certain, like 70% life left or something like that. So I've only put, what, 14,000 miles, so I think we're probably good until about 100,000 miles, I would guess, as long as you're not tracking the car. But the ceramics have worked great, so I didn't like the ceramics at all on my McLaren. I've never liked the ceramics on any BMW I've driven. They squeal and grind too much, but these ceramics have been phenomenal. Even when I've been driving it in February and January here, when we had a couple days that were like 10 degrees or 2 degrees, and they were fine as far as stopping power. My McLaren, if it was like 40 degrees, not only you needed heat in the tires, you needed a lot of heat in the brakes. These work just fine. All right, so that's it. That's the 2-year review of the Panamera. Running cost has just been an oil change so far. I got another service next week, so I'll do another video and we'll see what that costs. But otherwise, that's it. You know, it's been almost nothing to run this car for 14,000 miles. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next update. Remember, we do Glenn's Car Collection 7 days a week, a full-length video Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern, and then shorts Tuesday through Sunday. So you do have Glenn's Car Collection 7 days a week. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.